Live music first tonight from the man voted one of the best three guitar players on the planet. Juan Martín played for Picasso for his 90th birthday, and he's now here to play for us. How good is that? And he's brought a few of his friends along, 6 of them, but I think it's a little duo to start. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Sean. Lovely to be back.
Now, tell us roughly what we can expect, because, I mean, you take flamenco and you take it onwards and sideways.
Right. Well, up to now, when I've visited you, we've done flamenco, either with the dance and the singing, but I've always been very drawn towards Moorish music because, of course, we had nearly 800 years of Islamic rule in Spain from 711 to 1492. And I made a lot of research into the roots of flamenco. And so I formed this group called Musica Alhambra in 1996, and we made a recording called Musica Alhambra. And today I brought along various members of the group. There's Louai Alhenawi, who is from Damascus, and I'd just like to say what a wonderful ney player that is, the Arabic flute he is. And I'm pleased to say he's safe and not in the middle of all the problems that they have at the moment.
Indeed,
out there.
well, I know, and you just forget this is such a wonderful city. And
I know.
I know you went to the conservatoire there. We wish everyone a speedy resolution to it all.
Absolutely. And there's a piece at the end called From Damascus to Cordoba I'd like to dedicate to the people suffering there, you know. And then my old friend Abdul Salam Kheir, who comes from the Lebanon, and he is, of course, on the album of Musica Alhambra, a fantastic singer and oud player, that is the Arabic lute.
He's reminded me this is the oldest instrument of its kind in the world. I know, we owe you a lot.
It was the first sort of guitar to arrive in Spain. It was called La Guitarra Morisca, the Moorish guitar. And then Paul Fawcus, I've been playing with a lot. Paul is a brilliant improviser. He's classical jazz player, and he's been in my flamenco group for quite a while. He's going to be playing clarinet. And my old colleague Chris Karanikis, or Chris Karan as he's known today, originally from Australia, but of Greek background.
That's all right. We haven't actually discovered Paul's ethnic origin, have we?
Oh, Paul is from London.
That's all right. We just like to give the local boy a look in every now and again.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So what are you going to do? You're going to, I know, blossom into all 5 of you at a moment, aren't you? But I think you're starting with
We're starting with an Andalusi song, which is called La Mabada Yeticena, which means when she begins to sway, and it's the Sultan sitting in the Alhambra Palace looking at this impossibly beautiful veiled lady, and the lyrics refer to when she begins to sway, and this is one of the main tracks from our CD.
Maybe the Sultan begins to get slightly damp palms, who knows? Anyway, thank you very much indeed. You can all say anything in music, that's the great thing, absolutely anything. Thank you very much indeed. Tell the Sultan we'll be back to the Alhambra later to soothe his fevered brow. Thank you all very much indeed for making that marvellous music. 4:45 is the time. More from Juan Martín and his friends later in the programme. 7 minutes past 5 is the time if you're watching the clock. One of our best guitarists around. Juan Martín and friends are back. So we have ney, we have oud, we have darabuka, and we have clarinet, and we have la rosa. It's all about the rose which flowers in May. Thank you very much indeed. And that was La Rosa in Florez al Mayo. I got that roughly right. He's looking at me. Reasonable opprobrium. Juan, come back and join us and tell me about this great tour. And it's all to do with Musica Alhambra. So this exquisite group will be, I suppose, beefed up slightly, will it? Will you have a few more members when you hit the road? Or is this the full?
Not
this
at
is
all.
The full complement.
This is,
not that you need any more.
Thank you. It's a quintet, John. As I said, I recorded this album way back in '96, and I've been very busy playing solo in my flamenco group. But I was very drawn to this music and to these people. And we have a tour starting on Monday at the St. Ives Festival in Cornwall. And then on the 1st of October, we start the sort of tour proper.
Yeah, you're going on. Yes,
Yes.
just about everywhere in the country.
Yes.
We'll tell you where you can catch them in a moment. But your journey has been extraordinary too. When you think of the people you've played with, Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis, and
Yes.
you've written for the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and you've played for Picasso's 90th
Yes.
birthday. I still find that extraordinary and rather
Well,
impressive.
he came from Malaga originally, and my mother is a painter, and it came about through connections like that. And I had to play at his 90th. But when I got there, they said, forget your pieces, just improvise the paintings on the wall. And of course, I was trembling and trying to make an escape, and I was pretty young at the time, and they pulled me back. And so I made an attempt at sort of improvising a Cubist Picasso painting. Anyway,
what did it sound like? Was it a little bit angular or not?
It was dissonant, and I sort of went for things. He was very fond of flamenco, as you would have seen. Many of his crying heads are like a flamenco singer, and of course he did the blue guitar and various forms of Cubist guitar. But I mean, I would come up with some nice sort of dissonant chords like this, and I I got the thumbs up from people. So I thought, this is probably the way to go, But then it turned into an album that I did with Polydor, because Picasso said, I don't like classical music, I like space music, which I took to mean probably rock with synthesizers and so on. So I got to get together with Jeff Beck's group. He's a fantastic, still is a rock player, and a wonderful drummer called Simon Phillips, keyboardist Tony Heimers. And we made this record.
Did Picasso like it?
And, well, apparently so. But it was very much state-of-the-art, and I had to teach the rhythms of flamenco, like a bulería and that sort of thing, to the drummer, so I'd be saying they're not used to these sort of flamenco rhythms that are not exactly regular. But it proved to be a very...
Yeah, well, wonderful. I'm just longing to know if he gave you a drawing, did he?
I'm afraid not.
What a pity.
Well, it was a
I
bit
think
late.
if you brought his paintings off the wall, the least he could have done was bring your music onto the page. I think that would have been a quid pro quo from one artist to another.
I think he was quite amused
by
the whole gathering.
Even a beer mat would have done, I think.
He sort of winked as if to say, you've got to put up with all these arty people.
Well, these musicians we've got here today, as you said, we've got from Syria, from the Lebanon,
yes,
from sort of Greece via Australia and London as well. But London is quite a sort of an epicenter for
absolutely.
So many different musicians now, isn't it?
It really is, Sean. And talk about multicultural. It's really gives you the possibility to fuse with so many musics. I'm very drawn, as I say, to Middle Eastern music, and flamenco, of course, has a connection. It has never been a completely Western music, if you like. It's always been neither Western or Eastern. So when Abdul Salam introduced me to Louai, and he's from Damascus, he's this incredible sort of breathy sound.
He's got not
flute.
Just one flute, but he's got a chamber of flutes.
Yes, exactly.
It's like something from an exquisite museum, a sort of cabinet of curiosities, except that they are magically transformed into sound.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful to mix up with a first-class jazz player like Paul Fawcus, who can improvise on saxophone or flute or whatever, and to have all of that palette,
Well, where are you taking your palette next? What paint
this
are you
is
mixing?
A composition of mine called Evocation, and it's called From Damascus to Cordoba, evoking the time of the Moors in Granada. But I'd like to dedicate it, as I say, to all those poor, injured children and people right now in Syria and Damascus. And as I say, it's called Evocation, From Damascus to Cordoba.
Thank you. Sometimes music speaks where words fail. Live in the studio, Juan Martín and his ensemble. Thank you very much indeed. Vacación de Damasco a Córdoba, so Damascus to Córdoba. Juan Martín and Louai, Abdul, Chris and Paul, thank you for making music for us. And as we're coming from Damascus, let us hope for peace and civilization in that historic and very beautiful city. Thank you, Louai, especially for being with us from there. And they begin their tour, Juan Martín Ensemble St. Ives Festival in Cornwall on Monday, then the UK tour with Musica Alhambra programme from the 1st to the 13th, Newcastle under Lyme, Nottingham, Worcester, Aberystwyth, York, Leeds, Newbury and Southampton on the 13th of October. It's 27 minutes past 5 o'clock. You're listening to a tune here on BBC Radio 3.